Problem set 79 problems. Okay, let's do number 1, number 2, 4, 6 and 7, which was today's, 9 and 10, 11, 12, 14, 17, 18, 19, 20, 23, 26, 29. Okay, number 1. Profligate Pauline found that the total cost varied directly as the number purchased. The cost was $2,142 when she purchased 3. What would it cost her to purchase 10? Okay, so our equation is the total cost equals some number, which we normally label as K, times the number purchased, which in this case was 3. Okay, I guess whatever. I didn't put in my C. So let's fix the equation. Okay, the total cost was $21.42 equals K, our number that we multiply by to figure out the others, which is our variable, times 3. So in order to solve this, I'm going to divide both sides by 3. Punch this into my calculator. Okay, so 714. So now I just use the same equation. What would it cost her to purchase 10? Okay, well, my cost equals this 714 times 10. You should be able to solve that quite easily without a calculator. Okay, number 2. Darnley could travel 900 kilometers in 5 times the time it took Essex to travel 120 kilometers. Find the rates and times of both if Darnley's speed exceeded that of Essex by 10 kilometers per hour. Okay, so my distance is 900 for Darnley. So my rate of Darnley times my time of Darnley equals 900. The hardest part of these equations is getting all the equations that you need to solve it and getting that first one plugged in. Okay, the time of Darnley, it says in 5 times the time it took Essex. So is 5 times the time of Essex. Okay, and then the distance of Essex, so rate of E times time of E equals 120. And then let's see, find the rates and times if both if Darnley's speed exceeded that of Essex. So the rate of Darnley equals the rate of Essex plus 10. Okay, so these are my 4 equations. Now, I'm looking here and I'm like, all right, I have TD and RD. So I'm going to plug those into this equation. So my RD is RE. Actually, I'd like to distribute it the other way around. So I'm going to do 5, my TD, 5TE times, then I'm going to put this in parentheses, RE plus 10. That just makes more sense in my mind. You can do it however you want. Okay, so then I'm distributing it out. 5 TERE plus 50 TE equals 900. Okay, so I have a TERE or RETE. Let's see, make sure I'm not cutting off. So 5, and then I'm going to plug that in. 5 times 120 plus 50 T of E equals 900. Let me just make sure that's correct because I know I steered you wrong the other day on something. 5 times 120 plus 50 T equals 900. Okay, solve for T of E and then plug your T of E into the rest of these equations and solve for the other 3 things. All right, number 4. The 2 jugs stood side by side on the shelf. One contained a solution that was 60% antiseptic and the other contained a solution that was 90% antiseptic. How much of each should be used to get 50 milliliters of a solution that is 78% antiseptic? Okay, the first equation you're writing is just a very simple one. Okay, it is, well, actually, I normally start off by writing down here, let's see. I'm trying to decide what to call these. Jug 1, I guess I'll call it jug 1, which equals 60%, and J2, which equals 90%. Okay, now, my first simple equation is just J1, I need J1 plus J2 to equal 50 milliliters. I don't know how much of those I need, but this is just my first basic equation. Now I'm going to put in some numbers. So my J1 is 60%. I'm going to change that into a decimal. So 0.6 times J1 plus 0.9 times J2 equals, and I want it to come out with a 78% solution of 50 milliliters. So 0.78 times 50. All right, so I'm going to take my 0.78 times 50, which is 39. And then I need this to be a substitution problem. So I'm going to make this say J2 equals 50 minus J1. And I'm going to plug that in for J2. So 0.6 J1 plus 0.9 times, now I'm putting this in parentheses, 50 minus J1 equals 39. 0.9 times 50 is 45, and I have 0.9, this was a minus, right? So 0.9 minus 0.9J, so 0.6 J minus 0.9, so I have negative 0.3 J1 plus 45, well, I'm going to subtract my 45 to the other side. So 39 minus 45 equals negative 6. Divide both sides by negative 0.3. And J1 equals 20. Okay, so then I need 20 milliliters of this 60% solution. And then you need to plug that into this equation and solve for J2. How much of the 90% solution do you need? All right, I'm just going to do one of these, 6 or 7. I'll do 7. So 20 cubic feet means I have 3 of them, okay? And I need to convert to liters, so I'm going to have to do a bunch of conversions here. Feet to inches, inches to centimeters, and centimeters to liters, because remember, 1,000 centimeters cubed equals 1 liter, and that's what we're trying to get to. Okay, so I need my feet on the bottom. 1 foot equals 12 inches, but I got to do that 3 times because I have 3 of them here. I need 3 to cancel out. Times 1 foot is 12 inches. So all these cancel out. So now I'm at inches, but I'm trying to go to centimeters now next. I'm going to have to come down here to have room for all this. So I need 1 inch on the bottom is 2.54 centimeters. Okay, because now I have inches, inches, but I need to do that 3 times. Okay, so all these cancel out. Okay, now I'm left with centimeters. I need centimeters cubed, which I've got 3 of them here. Okay, so then my last conversion is going to be, let's see, I need my centimeters on the bottom. So 1,000 centimeters cubed is 1 liter. Okay, so my centimeters all cancel out. That's how I knew whether to put centimeters on the top or the bottom, because I'm looking what cross simplifies, so I can diagonally cross out my centimeters 3 times. Okay, so now I just do my math. 20 times 12 times 12 times 12 times 2.54 times 2.54 times 2.54, and all that divided by 1,000, because I don't have anything else on the bottom except ones. And that'll give you your answer. And you're doing that same thing for number 6. So use that example to do number 6 as well. All right, number 9. The square root of s equals 4 minus the square root of s plus 8. Okay, we just learned these problems a couple days ago. We need to rearrange this a little because I need this on this side and this over here. So I have s, square root of s plus 8 equals, let's see, 4 minus the square root of s. Okay, now I'm going to square both sides. So squaring this gets rid of that, so I just have s plus 8. Squaring this over here, though, you're thinking of it as foiling. Okay, because you need to take this times itself. So first, 4 times 4 is 16. Outer, okay, we'll just do, we'll add them together in a little bit. 4 times the square root of s minus 4 times the square root of s, then I did the inner, and then outer, s times the square root of s times the square root of s is just s. And we have 2 negatives, so plus s. So let's combine these middle ones. All right, so 16 minus 8 times the square root of s plus s. S plus 8 equals. Okay, so now subtract, well, it doesn't, let's see, let's subtract 16 from both sides, and then s from both sides, and we end up here with 8 equals negative 8 times the square root of s. So we can divide both of those by negative 8, and we get the square root of s equals 1. So if we square both sides to get rid of this, our answer is 1. Now, we need to go back and just kind of check that simply to double check. Square root of 1 is 1, so 1 equals 4 minus 1 plus 8 is 9. The square root of 9 is 3, so 4 minus 3 is 1. 1 equals 1, so yes, that will work. Sometimes that won't work, so you need to go back and just double check it, and they will try to trick you on that. Okay, number 10. This was where we had 3 variables, so we're trying to figure out how to get rid of, how to solve for 1. Sorry, my z's look like 2's. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to do these first 2. I started writing this before I kind of had a plan. X minus y. Actually, no, I need to get, sorry. I need to make something say equal. So I'm going to take that bottom one and 3x equals y. So y equals 3x. So I'm going to plug that in for my y's here on the first two. So 2x minus 3x plus 2z equals 3. And then, let's see, let's just combine that. So we have negative x plus 2. Make my 2's maybe more curly so you can tell the difference. Plus 2z equals 3. Okay, and then x minus 3x minus 2z equals negative 6. So I have negative 2x minus 2z equals negative 6. So this is already set up for elimination. Negative 3x equals negative 3. X equals 1. Okay, so we've solved for the first one. All right, now that you've solved for x is 1. Problem here. Go ahead and put that in and now solve for the other ones. So now I have, let's see, I'm trying to decide if I'm going to do elimination again. Actually solve for y next at the bottom. So 3 times 1, 3 minus y equals 0. So y equals 3. And then go ahead and put in your x and your y into one of the other equations and finish solving for z, and that'll be your answer. And you'll write it in looking back at the problem here, the format of x, y, z. So in your parentheses, comma with your numbers. Okay, let's see, number 11. Okay, these are very tricky and long. So let me see if I can walk you through this. Okay, a 2 Newton force and a 1 Newton force act on a point as shown. Find the resultant force. Okay, first thing I got to do, they've given me the angles here. I'm going to turn this top one into a triangle here to start with. 40 degrees, and this is 2. Okay, so I need to solve for this side and this side. I'm just going to call this x and this y. Maybe I should call them r and u. That's what I'm going to be using them for. So to the right and then up. Okay, so I'm going to solve first of all for this one. So opposite over hypotenuse. So I have sine 40 equals opposite over hypotenuse. You're going to plug into your calculator 2 sine 40. Okay, that's going to give you your u. Okay, then r, cosine of 40, adjacent over hypotenuse. So 2 cosine 40 equals r. Okay, that's your first step. Then we have this triangle underneath it. Okay, this, and I'm going to turn that into a right triangle, and this is 45 degrees. I need to solve for this u and this r. Oh, and they tell us this is 1. The hypotenuse is 1. Okay, so now, similar, sine of 45, opposite over hypotenuse. So I have 1 sine 45 equals my u, and then I have 1 cosine 45 equals my r. Okay. Okay, so now that I have all u, r here, I need to add those together. Okay, so let's see if this is not cutting off. All right, 1.53r minus 1.29u. This is just the answers I got for these 4 up here. And then 71r plus 0.71u. Okay, when I add that all up, I have 2.24r minus 0.58u. Did that cut off? Okay. Now, I need to take those numbers. Let's see, I'm going to have to erase some of this because I'm still not done. Okay, so now I'm going to redraw my tangent. And I'm not quite sure what quadrant I'm in here. Figure that out. Actually, I think we're down here for the force. Third, maybe we're over here. Okay, so, well, it doesn't matter. Actually, I need to plug these in. That will tell me what quadrant. So 2.24 to the right. Okay, I'm just going to lightly put a dot. And then 0.58u, so it's really down. Okay, so I'm just going to draw a triangle here, make a right angle. This is 2.24, and this is 0.58. So I'm missing my hypotenuse, which I need. So from this angle, I need to find this angle first, okay? Look at that, I have opposite over adjacent. So in your calculator, you're going to plug in second tangent, 0.58 divided by 2.24, okay? And that is going to, let me just do it here. Oh, negative? No. Okay. Plus, because I'm in this fourth quadrant down here, so my angle is 14.51 degrees, but starting from here, I need to add, well, I need to take 360 minus 14.52. Okay, so I'm in this fourth quadrant here, so the angle's not really 14.52 degrees because I'm always starting here and going around this way. So I have to take 360, because a complete circle, 360 minus that 14.52 to find out what the actual angle is that I'm going to be writing. Okay, so my answer, I'm not quite to the final answer, but it will be at 345.48 degrees. Okay, now I need to solve the hypotenuse to know what to put here. Okay, so let's do, okay, so my angle here was 14.51. So I'm just going to do sine. So sine 14.51 equals opposite over hypotenuse, which is what I'm missing. Okay, so then this gets a little trickier to figure out. These cancel out. Then I divide by sine both sides to get x by itself. So x equals, now you're going to put in your calculator, 0.58 divided by sine 14.51. And then that should give you 2.31. So your answer, oh no, sorry, I guess you could do it that way. Hang on, I'm going to show you something different here in just a minute. I want to just double check that that works. Yeah, so you can do it the way I did it, or another way, which is what the book did, was they did the Pythagorean theorem. So 2.24 squared plus 0.58 squared equals x squared. Add those together, take the square root, you will still get the 2.31. I usually use sine. I don't know why, I forget that this is when we're at this point, I'm already in sine, cosine, tangent method that I guess I forget that we have enough information to use the Pythagorean theorem. So either way, but this will be your final answer. So these are kind of long, complicated problems, but you know all the steps to do them. It's just putting them all together and using them. Okay, that was number 11. What are we on here? 12. Okay, I want you to, I'll get you started here. 4x plus 3. I'm going to just unfoil the bottom here because we're trying to find a common denominator. Minus 2x, but I'm going to change my sign so that here I can flip the signs to be x minus 3. Okay, so my common denominator is x minus 3 times x plus 3. So 4x plus 3 doesn't need anything. 2x we need to multiply by x plus 3. So we get plus 2x squared plus 6x. So then we can combine a few things. So our final answer is 2x squared, combine your x's, plus 10x plus 3 over that common denominator, which you can leave as x minus 3 times x plus 3, or you can go back to what it was, which is x squared minus 9. Either one is fine for the answer. Okay, 14. This is where we are multiplying by the conjugate, which is the opposite sign on the bottom. So times top and bottom times negative 5 plus the square root of 2, negative 5 plus the square root of 2. Okay, so the bottom's going to be a lot easier than the top. You're going to FOIL. So first, negative 1 times negative 5, 5. Outer, negative 1 times the square root of 2, so minus 1 times the square root of 2. Inner, negative 5 times negative 1, so plus 5 times the square root of 2. And the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 will give you 2. And we have a minus and a plus, so minus 2. And then down here, negative 5 times negative 5 is 25. Your outer plus your inner will cancel out, so then you're just doing your last. Square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is 2. We have a negative and a positive, so minus 2. Okay, so simplify all this. Your number, what was this, 14? So you need to just combine your stuff up here, and then it will be over 23. Okay, 17. We've been having some problems with this. Find B. So A over X equals, I'm just going to go ahead and distribute this M now. So MA over R1 plus MB over R2. All right, so that's our beginning, what we're starting with here. Okay, now I'm trying to isolate, keep going back to what I'm looking for. I'm trying to isolate B is what I'm looking for. So I'm gonna find a common denominator here, which is R1, R2X. So A R1, R2 equals MAX R2 plus MBA R1 is what you should end up with. Just double checking that I have all that. AMX R2 plus BM. Oh, I multiplied by the wrong thing. That's why I was double checking. MBX R1. Okay. Now, let's see. This doesn't have a B. This is the only place with a B. Okay, so I want to subtract this over here. So A R1 R2 minus max r2 equals, and I'm going to isolate this b times mx r1, because I'm trying to get b by itself. And then I can just divide both sides by this mx r1, and I have b by itself. So my final answer will be this. Okay, try 18 on your own. You need to deal with the bottom fraction first and then multiply the top by the reciprocal and then find a common denominator. I wanted to go through 19 with you because I know you've been struggling with those. Okay, so -4, we can think of it as the square root of 4 is 2. And a negative under a square root turns into an I. Okay, -3i. I squared is -1. So 3 times -1 is -3 with a negative in front of it. So +3. And then I to the 4th is 2 -1s. So we have -2 times -1, which is 2, and times another -1 is -2. Okay, +2 minus the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 will just give us 2, but they're both 2i. Let's see here, 2i. So the square root of 2i times the square root of 2i is just 2. Is that 2i squared? Is -2, and then we have a negative in front of it, so we're going to have another 2 just by itself. Okay, so now you should be able to just combine your numbers. All right, 20. We did quite a few of those today. Multiply your fractions times, it looks like 10. So you have 2x plus 2y equals 120. And then your, sorry, I don't know if I said fractions, I meant decimals. Multiply your decimals by 10, because the furthest place value that the decimal goes out to is the 10ths place. So we only need to multiply by 10 to get rid of all the decimals. If we had one that went out to the hundredths, then we would multiply all of them by 100. For the fractions, you need to find a common denominator. So 5, 4, and 1, your common denominator is 20. So I'm thinking, what do I need to multiply 1/5 by? What's it missing to get to 20? Well, 4. So I have 4 times 1, so 4x minus, and then that one with the y is missing a 5. So minus 5y equals, and then I need to take -6 times 20, which is 120. Yep. And then you just need to solve either through elimination or substitution for x and y. All right, 23 is what we did today. Use similar triangles to find A and B. So we have a 90, 45, 45 triangle. I'm tipping the book here to make sure I have things on the right side. So square root of 3 is the hypotenuse. And let's see. I feel like I drew it backwards, which is making me question my A, B. Okay, now in a similar triangle, 45, 45, 90 triangle, we have 1 square root of 2. So now I'm trying to find my scale factor. Hang on, I think I have this drawn backwards. Oh yeah, sorry, the square root of 3 is not the hypotenuse. B is the hypotenuse. Square root of 3a. Okay, so my scale factor here is 1. 1 times my scale factor equals the square root of 3. Or you could think, yeah. So my scale factor, it's much easier with these ones. My scale factor is the square root of 3. So that means 1 times the square root of 3 will give me b. So that should be pretty easy to solve. Sorry, I have these backwards. No, I shouldn't. On this, they have it backwards. B is the hypotenuse in the book. It's directly across from the right angle. So they mixed it up. Okay, so my scale factor, so 1 times my scale factor, which is the square root of 3, will give you b. And then the square root of 2 times the square root of 3, my scale factor will give you a. All right, 26, I'm just going to write out for you because I feel like you maybe missed that on a test. So you need to rewrite this into a format that you can use. Minus 126. All right, I'm going through my perfect squares. Divided by 4. Nope. 26 divided by 9. Okay, it divides by 9. So I'm going to pull out square root of 9 is 3 times 2. So minus 6 times the square root of 14 is what is left. And I'm thinking of that as over 1. Okay, now you're going to multiply the top and the bottom by the square root of 2. And on this one, the top and the bottom by the square root of 7 to get rid of these square roots on the bottom. So then you'll just have 2 on the bottom, 7 on the bottom. Multiply this stuff up here. Then you need to find a common denominator for 2 and 7, which is 14. That'll be your bottom, so you can add everything together. All right, 29. You missed this on the test. Find the equation of the line that passes through 5, 7 and has a slope of 1/5. Well, they've given us the slope, so there's hardly any thinking. So 7 is my y. I got to solve for b before I can do anything. Times 5 plus b. Okay, well, 1/5 times 5 is going to give me 1. So 7 equals 1 plus b. Subtract 1. b equals 6. You need to write this out in your y equals mx plus b format. So y equals, what's your slope, x, and what's your b? Your answer should be that equation. All right, that's it for lesson 79.